I've heard folks say that, hey, I think I used to be an extrovert. I'm just an introvert now. I don't mind, being locked in. And the thing that I've noticed too is that you can't really take a look at people that are introverted and people that are burnt out and tell the difference a lot of times. But we're going to fix that in today's video. Hey everyone, welcome to Start Your Week Great, Start Your Week with a Coach. I am your host, certified high performance coach, Sean Butner, and today we're talking about burnout and being introverted, and maybe you're experiencing both, maybe not, but how do we tease out those differences and what can we do about it to get back in the game to make sure we are not letting life pass us by so that we're living the best life that we possibly can. So, now, I'd like to say that 2020 was the year of the introvert. Like, basically, for someone like myself, if you're like me, who finds their energy from not being in social interaction situations, I've been built for this, right? I really, being quarantined and not having to travel and all that kind of stuff has really been, great in some aspects. In that aspect, not being able to see family or close friends in person has been a drawback. But, this idea that, we've had a really rough year, right? And as we move forward, there's a lot of transition going on as things open up, or maybe not, with the Delta variant and all that stuff. And, I've heard folks say that, hey, I think I used to be an extrovert. I'm just an introvert now. I don't mind, being locked in. And the thing that I've noticed too is that you can't really take a look at people that are introverted and people that are burnt out and tell the difference a lot of times. But we're going to fix that in today's video. So what happens if you say, hey, I'm an introvert, but you're really burnt out, right? You might spend a lot of effort trying to get your energy in a way that's not really conducive to you if you're not an introvert. And it's going to keep you from feeling happy and from moving on and forward in your life. And vice versa, if you're an introvert, how do you know that you're not burnt out, right? Again, you're probably feeling pretty good about not seeing people. It doesn't stress you out. You're not losing energy by not seeing people, that kind of stuff. And that distinction is pretty good. So, and for example, I've heard this around the house that, I think that my more introverted side is showing. And that's, because my wife said it to me. And, she's an ambivert, taking tasks from Susan Cain, who did the awesome book Quiet, which if you haven't checked it out and you have an introvert in your life, or you are one and want to learn more about yourself, it's a really excellent book from 2012, I think. About there, 2012, 2013. And for her and being her partner, I can observe her being stressed with all the uncertainty. She works as a therapist and school counselor in elementary schools. And this past year was really hard on her. With all the uncertainty, she's had to adapt, and, she's out of her depth in dealing with kids, and then the fact that they made her teach when she didn't really have a lot of skills there, and so she had to kind of build the plane as they were flying, as she liked to say this past year. And so with a lot of that going on, with some bad management, and who hasn't experienced that maybe this past year, at the end of the school year, she decided that, hey, things need to change, and how can we have a better, less stressful future? And so she ended up transferring jobs to new things. She's got a couple other things going on. And, as much as last year was hard and stressful and exhausting, she's starting to think more about, hey, what do I want out of my career? And that's what you want to do to get out of burnout. So, we've had a lot of discussions on this, and, is it her introverted side? Is it burnout? We're still kind of trying to figure that out, but that's what sparked this video, is that question. So what I'm going to do is break this down into two types of steps, right? First, a couple steps to see if you are someone that is introverted, but ambivert or extroverted, answering 2 questions, and then some signs to see if you're burnt out, okay? So point 1 is, if you think about how you rejuvenate, what's your favorite way to recharge? Is it going to a bar, being around a ton of people, and doing that whole social thing, or is it at home reading a book? Is it going to see a concert in a large concert hall with a bunch of people, or is it sitting at a coffee shop journaling by yourself? And so the thing to look out for in this and how you recharge is, what's the level and mix of people? So if you listed everything you do to kind of get back in the game, and most of it is solo activities, you're probably an introvert. If it's a mix of both, like half and half, you're an ambivert, like my awesome wife Ashley. Or if you're like, no, I need to see people, I need to be out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, that whole thing, you're probably extroverted. The second question to ask yourself, if you're introverted, is, if you don't see people for a long time, are you okay? Or do you get restless? Do you feel the need to reach out, to constantly be around people? Are you okay being alone again? It's another way to kind of hit that point home. And the same thing goes if you're happy, awesome. If you are miserable when you're by yourself and you need people around to feel good, again, you might be on the more extroverted side. So now we're going to switch over to, how can you tell if you're burnt out or not? And as a coach, I've helped a lot of people this past year. And, before, I was burnt out in my career. We all, I think, experience it at some point in our lives. Sometimes people call it your 20s, but, jokes aside, here's how you can tell if you are burnt out, right? In the last 30 days, how has your mood been in general? And if you're like, man, I've been really stressed out, I've been really overwhelmed, I felt really hopeless, I felt really miserable, there's a good chance that you're burned out. Because if that's your general mood and you haven't been able to get past it, most cases it's people not being able to imagine their better, exciting future, right? There's nothing to get excited about going forward, and so you kind of sit in the day-to-day emotions and things that come at you. So that's the first thing to look out for. The second thing to look out for in the last 30 days is, how often have you worked out, right? Because one telltale of burnout is when you start to neglect your health routines. So if you're like, well, I didn't work out before, so I don't really know, like, that's a whole other issue. So this by itself isn't going to say I'm burned out. But if you've noticed a decrease in your desire to go and walk out in nature, or hit the weight room, or whatever, do your morning green shake, these are signs that if you had a big pattern change here and it's less or even more, like some people deal with stress by working out more, but more likely if it's less now than it used to be, you might be burnt out. So that might be something to be like, I should really consider this. The third thing, in the last 30 days, how would your family and friends say you've been when they talk to you? Do you snap at them? Are you really grumpy? Or do you have a sense of joy and engagement and presence that you're able to bring to the conversation and that you can enjoy? And then finally, to figure out if you're burnt out, you have to really think, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, are you excited for your future? Do you have a vision of where your life's going professionally, with your relationships, with your health, with your general well-being, where you're excited every day to get up there? Maybe you're just tired, because if you don't have that excitement, there's a really good chance you're burnt out. So you use these last set of questions as a diagnostic. And if you're like, hey, I think I'm burnt out and I need some help here, first off, journal about your future, find something to get excited about. Counterintuitively, nobody who's burnt out wants to hear this, but it might take doing a bit more, working out a little bit more, making more intention to, reflect, to really start making moves towards something in your future that you're really excited about to help you get out of that burnout stage. And you might need to talk to a coach. And if that's the case, I'm here, so you can always go to SeanButler.com/coaching to sign up for a free 1-hour strategy session, and I help people with this all the time. So we can have a very structured, process-oriented discussion that with the support that you need to help you break out of what's ever burning you out. So, all right, guys, that said, I hope you have a better understanding after watching this video of what burnout is, what being an introvert is. And if you identify as being an introvert or as burnt out, and you're looking to up your performance in one of the areas of your life, again, check me out at SeanButler.com/coaching. But that's it for this week, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I really love doing these videos for you. So drop a comment, drop a question if you have it, and I'll get back to you as I can. Or you can always email me if you're watching this on the blog. So information below. That's it, guys. Have a great week.